Welcome back to CHGO Bears After Dark, presented by ComEd. ComEd's keeping the lights on for us here late night on After Dark. Make sure you hit up ComEd.com/clean for all your energy needs. We're back and better than ever. I'm your host, Greg Braggs Jr. Alongside me, as always, is my guy, Corey Wootton. And joining us here tonight is the king of Meatball Island. Some have dubbed me the mayor of Meatball Island, but Adam Rank, that's right, Corey, is the king of Meatball Island. And this is the time of year where meatballs dream. And Adam joins us here tonight. How you doing, Adam?
I'm doing pretty well, thank you. Really appreciate the opportunity to come in. I did, obviously, knowing that I was going to come on tonight, and with everything that's happening, the Bears play on Thursday, obviously, I put the print graphic of my schedule prediction on. And the internet came together and said, like, nope, he nailed it. That's absolutely correct. I have no notes, and we're all in good shape.
We don't need notes because we're in the thick of camp now. We get updates every single day. The Bears were out there practicing it again today. No pads, but Caleb Williams and Shane Waldron did speak to the media. So we're going to talk about all that and get your reactions to, camp in general. I think we're about 8-9 days in now. There's a lot to discuss. I did kind of tease to the fans that we had some announcements here tonight. Obviously, tonight will be the last non-Hard Knocks version of After Dark here going forward. Starting next week, Hard Knocks post-game shows will become our After Dark specials. You'll see a little bit more from Adam Hogue and Mark Carmen and Nick Moriano, Corey Wootton, and myself, of course, Steven helping in the backside producing as always, and we appreciate him. So we're excited for that. And then also Adam and I was just on with you on the Sick podcast here just a few days ago, and I appreciate that. And so we've come together here for this season. And the other announcement that I wanted to make to the fans is that there's going to be a little bit of a collaboration between Adam and I. I'll be jumping on with Adam early and often here. We'll start it up in camp and go through the season. I'll be jumping on with him, and Adam will be joining us quite a bit here on CHGO Bears After Dark as well. So we're excited for the collab. We're honored, good sir, Adam Rank, for you to bless us with your presence.
No. The honor is all mine, and the privilege is all mine. And for anybody who's like a diehard wrestling fan who really loves like AEW type wrestling, or even WWE's doing it with Impact now, they call it the forbidden door, where somebody from New Japan shows up in AEW, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe Okada's here, although Okada's with AEW now. But it's like, I always like those kind of collaborations because I know that it's interesting, because you would think that everybody just kind of comes under. I hope they believe that everybody here who creates Bears content, we're basically friends. We all go on each other's shows and we all do these other things. And so for me, it's really important. I especially want to go out there and try to be as available as possible. And I'm a huge fan of the guys at CHGO. We've done some stuff. We did some cool things at the Super Bowl right after the announcement of the Hall of Fame, which was so funny because we all knew, like, we were walking through the convention center, I think a day or two ahead of time. We're like, yeah. So, okay, yeah. And so we were able to do something that night, and we've done some stuff before. So this is a really cool opportunity for us just to go out there and talk Bears football. It's, I think that it's kind of, I look at it like an open mic. There's some people who are too super competitive who want to see other comics eat it. And like, I don't know, like that doesn't make you better. It just makes the show worse. So I feel like when everybody's good and everybody's sharing and collaborative and everything, then everybody enjoys it. And so I think if Bears creators are getting together and doing more cross-promotional stuff, I think it's better for fans in general.
Exactly. It's a great thing. But if you ever get tired of brags like I do sometimes, just have me on the show. Hit me up. I'll get on there, because sometimes, dealing with brags, is a little bit too much sometimes. And I understand, so just let me know. All right.
There's no sympathy for either of you. My wife's been with me for 20 years. You guys can deal with me for an hour a week. And I think we're going to have some good symmetry here. My goal for the season is to build some good segments that make sense for us. And me and Corey are big golf aficionados. Corey's always on the links. He's got his own, stuff going on in the golf industry as well with some of his golf simulator business that he's working on. So Adam's also, a big golfer as well. So I think we have some symmetry there.
Oh, I'm actually out I have a house right here in the Coachella Valley where they have the big music festival. I have a home here, and I was trying to set up earlier with the big pimp shot of the fourth tee behind me, showing that off. But number one, it's 110 still. Right? And I being in the I couldn't get the lighting correct. So listen, I love it. I love playing, and it's one of my favorite things to do. And I know that it becomes, putting the sticks away for a little bit. But of course, we got to get out there and swing. I was talking to Steve Smith Sr. today because he's got the golf bug bad. I don't know if
I saw that. I saw that clip of him hitting the tree.
He's so good. Like, he's so good, and he does such a great job with creating videos and things like that. And he's doing this whole organic thing. And I even told him, I have some sponsors. I'm like, hey, do you want me? He's like, no, don't put me in touch with anybody. Let me go out there and earn it my way, just the way that you did. And I said, okay, fair enough. And he's out there killing it.
Nice. Question for you: who are your sponsors golf wise?
I play with Strixon and Cleveland. It's the same company. So my wedges and putter are Cleveland, and then my driver. And then I'm sort of moving away from the low irons, like 3 irons and 4 irons, and instead getting into the high woods, which is actually a Cleveland club. Yep. So for irons, I have just 6 through the wedges. And then what do you have, like a 7 wood? I have a 4 high wood, a 5 wood, and then I'm waiting on my 7. Yeah. But usually I'm just like, I'm close enough. Like, I'll take a swing with try to pull off on the 5 wood, and it never works, but I try it. Exactly. Golf is one of those games that gets you, and then there's no coming back for it. That's where I'm at right now. And I joined the country club a couple weeks ago, and the rest is history now.
Yep. I picked up 2 habits in the last 365 days, and one was golfing. No, Taco Bell's been ingrained in me for decades, but golfing and cigars in the last year. And my wife's the 2 most expensive habits you could probably get into. So my wife's just thrilled about that. So we'll have to get out on the links here at some point. We always talk golf here on CHGO Bears After Dark, it seems. And but circling back to some of this Bears talk, Adam, I know you just had Tyler Scott on. It was a really good interview. For those of you that didn't get a chance to watch it yet, make sure you head over to the Sick Podcast on YouTube and make sure you watch that interview. It was really, really good. And when we talk about, of course. And I thought there was a big thing. I don't want to spill the tea too much on the interview, but I thought there was a big reveal in your interview with him because, when we talk about Hard Knocks coming up next week and you talk to Tyler Scott, there was a bit of a reveal in that interview as well, right?
Well, we were talking about, I was asking him how much run he was getting with Hard Knocks. I'm like, if you tried to get yourself in front of these producers and try to hey, but it sounds like Tyler is going to be a big storyline in one of the shows. Cause he's like, hey, they had me out doing the confessionals. They're probably going to go, Tyler is going to be graduating soon from the University of Cincinnati. So the cameras are going to be there for that. He just recently got married. So I'm like, dude, you fully stole an episode. So I hope nobody's upset with you, but you've clearly stolen an episode. And obviously, Tyler did a great job with the Sick Podcast last year. And so he's very much, he's very good on camera, obviously. And so I think that the producers probably were looking for stories and they're like, oh, here's a guy who's presentable. And there you go. So I'm excited for him. And I think him and I think Tyson Bagent will probably play heavily in that as well. Cause he's been giving off some great,
armor.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We do, Corey, we met. So I'm sitting in the bleachers, and this guy comes up to a lot of people come up. Hey, appreciate the show. Love what you guys do. So this guy comes up. He's like, Braggs. I'm like, what's up? What's your name? He's like, I'm Travis Bagent. And I was like, oh shit. I was blown away that he knew who I was. He was like, I love your guys' show. You guys are the best. We appreciate you. And I was like, I was like, oh, wait till Carm hears this. I'm gonna make sure he stays far away from me. He finds this out, he's gonna freak out because Adam, I'm sure you know, Carm is like the biggest Tyson Bagent fan, and he was like, oh, dude, Carm's my guy. This guy is like he makes me look calm. He's like a ball of energy, Travis is. And so he goes, bring Carm over here. So Carm came over and we were talking to Travis, and it was a really fun conversation. Dude's got a ton of energy and a ton of confidence in his son, Tyson. So that was certainly a lot of fun. So I agree with you that I'm sure he'll get spotlighted because he's going to get a lot of reps here in the preseason. You know, so those are things they're going to certainly highlight. But, you know, for all the fans that are guessing what's going to be featured in this show, you know, I think Tyler gave the first reveal. I don't know if the Hard Knocks people wanted some of that stuff out, but at the same time,
is that like, true?
Hey, no, I don't know how players can say whatever they want, but I'm sure, like, you know, they try to keep everything under wraps.
Nobody looks out for him like I do. Like I will be like, because we usually don't do our shows. We didn't do this one live. I usually don't go live with him because I'll be like, nah, that didn't come off right. Like I know I probably should. Listen, I know Jeff Pearlman would be so upset at me because I'm not a great journalist. But I'm like, and I love Jeff, and he like me. He's a professor at Chapman University in Orange, California. And I'm like, what you do and what I do is completely different. Like, it's just a different thing. Like, I'm in fantasy football, you know, and I'm obviously a fan of one particular team. So I think I get a little bit of leeway with stuff like that. And I also, and he actually agreed with this because I brought it up one time. He goes, yeah, don't burn the guy. Like, don't burn like your source, so to speak. Cause like sometimes, like nothing inflammatory, but I'm like, don't say that. Although I think I jokingly said on the show, please go listen to the show, by the way. And even if you don't like me, just subscribe to the channel on YouTube and whatever. You don't have to listen. It's fine. You're not going to offend me. But if we have those subscriptions, it always pays off. But he was sitting there and this one stayed in because it's cute. It's nothing major. He's like, Caleb's out there doing all those slot angles and all this stuff, kind of like Aaron Rodgers, and he's going on and on. And I said, hey, that's great. I go, by the way, from now on, it's Patrick Mahomes. Like, do not invoke the name of Aaron Rodgers when you're talking about Caleb Williams. Get that out of your.
Yeah, he flirted calling him Aaron Rodgers-ish. He goes, I don't know if I want to call him Aaron Rodgers-ish. And everybody's like, huh?
No,
you know, and I think, you know, it's one of those hijinks for Bears fans, but at the same time, like you start hearing stuff like that, which he had those comparisons already. And Caleb has said Aaron's one of his favorite quarterbacks that he watched and emulated growing up. So you still like to hear some of those things, and the way he described catching that touchdown and the touch he puts on the football, certainly for me, had me excited, you know, as a Bears fan and the future to come. And Caleb and Shane talked a little bit today and put my mind at ease at some of the early camp struggles and some of the things they're working through, and Caleb kind of learning, you know, what checks he needs to have at the line of scrimmage and what windows he's trying to find. And, you know, I think every fan, when they go to training camp, they get excited. And that's what I do every single year. I get overly excited to get ahead of my skis. And there's a process, Corey, that you guys have to go through to get to the level you want to get by the time you get to week one.
It is. It really is a process. And I look at Caleb and rookie year, new offense, new weapons, getting on the same page, getting that rhythm, that chemistry, that timing. It does take some time. So my biggest thing in training camp and preseason is him getting as many reps as possible, right? Give him all the reps. The thing is, at the quarterback position, it's not like some of the other positions where you're running 50-yard routes and you're going back and forth here, right? He's going to be scrambling and moving around as much, but I want him to get as many reps with the ones as he can, right? The offensive line, the receivers, the running backs. So that way they're on the same page. So all the checks, right? He's giving the checks, and that way the running back is on the same page with him when he knows he needs to get that end that's screaming off the edge. So that way, week one, they don't have any unforced errors. So I'm just looking forward because, you know, Adam, I think the biggest thing I talk about is you see a lot of these really good teams week one. Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, all these guys really struggling because what do? They sit out in the preseason. They don't have many reps. The offseason is limited. So the product you get on the first couple of weeks is very poor, both sides of the football, right? Tackling is bad. because you really don't utilize that now. We don't have joint scrimmages where you're taking people to the ground. So I think a lot of it is it takes, the first 5 weeks of the season for a lot of these teams to wake up and warm up. And you think about from Caleb's standpoint, a rookie quarterback soaking all this in, it would be best if they give him as many reps as possible while protecting him, right? Because there's a way to give him reps to make sure that, hey, he's not getting hit by a corner coming off the edge on the blind side, things like that, where they can really protect him.
Yeah, we remember the playoff or the preseason game with where Justin Fields got lit up by the Bills. Like, that's the kind of stuff you want to avoid.
Yeah, I was at a bachelor party in Vegas when that happened, sitting by the pool at Ario and I like almost threw the chair I was sitting on into the pool at Ario. I was so pissed off when that happened. Not only did nobody come out to fight for his honor, but they also had him playing like third string reps, like with offensive linemen, all due respect, that weren't going to be in the league here coming. Like, what are we doing? So at least we're not going to run into those issues. I got so much that I want to talk to you about, Adam, here coming on the backside of this break in terms of the Hall of Fame game, some of the vibes you're getting out of camp, and anything else that you want to touch on here. Keep you on for one more second. But before I do, want to give a shout out to ComEd, always helping us out here on CHGO Bears After Dark. It's getting easier for businesses to switch to electric vehicles. That's something we can all get behind for the health of the planet and the well-being of all of us who share it. The electric grid is evolving to meet your cleaner energy needs as we all move with confidence towards an electric tomorrow. Whether you have one delivery van or a whole fleet of shipping trucks, ComEd can help guide you to make the changes that make sense. So business owners should go to comed.com/clean to learn more about the resources, fleet rebates, and infrastructure incentives available to help businesses go electric. If you own a business, don't wait. Start making your plan today to switch to electric vehicles. Good for business, good for the planet, good for all of us. Go to comed.com/clean. Go now and see how going electric connects us to a better way of doing business and a better future for generations to come. So moving on here, rolling on here with Adam Ray. Excited
before we roll on again. Here's another thing that again, as a coach on these things, I think both of us on both of our shows, we're sponsored by a company that has a casino in Las Vegas, and you're just sitting here dropping the name of the Aria. You could have told this story whether it was, we could have just said it was Circa, been like, nobody would have known. Nobody would have known. Who would have fact checked? I tell so many Vegas stories now, and especially if they're on the air. I'm like, oh yeah, I was at the Golden Gate, which obviously is owned by Derek Stevens. Oh, I was at the Golden Gate. I wasn't, but like it was the Tropicana, but it doesn't matter. Nobody's fact checking that. Again, small notes.
Yes,
that I will sorry, I could have done that.
No,
later.
You're right. That's why you're the pro, and that's why you're going to show me the ropes here this year. And by the end of the year, like Caleb Williams, the hope is that I actually learn something and I get better here, so I don't drive Corey Wootton crazy here for years to come.
You're great. You're great.
So yeah, let's get into it, because the Hall of Fame game is 3 days away. I mean, less than 3 days away at this point. They'll be literally kicking off right now, 3 days from this very second. That's really exciting. To see football back on our TV is always a rite of passage for us football fans, and the Bears get to be playing in this game, and 3 Hall of Famers getting inducted. The Bears put out a little video here today with Devin Hester talking about his induction and how much his teammates meant to him. Corey, I don't know if you've had a chance to watch it yet, but he gets very emotional talking about Lovie Smith, talking about Dave Tobe and you guys as teammates. And it brings me back to those days where, I was chasing you guys at training camp, and it puts chills down my back, knowing how much the game of football, the Chicago Bears and his teammates, the fans and everything meant to Devin. And that's beyond just the electricity that he brought as a football player, is why he will always be my favorite Chicago Bear of all time. But the Hall of Fame game, I certainly got my eyes on this. There's a lot of different storylines I'm interested to look at, how many snaps certain guys are going to get, the kickoff return rule being the biggest change, and how teams are going to play that. We got a little sneak peek on Saturday of how that's going to look. They're practicing through some of those things. But we're all kind of wondering, are the first team guys going to get any reps? Caleb spoke today to the media and said that he'd love to play in that, game. You know, he thinks it, you know, he said, I would love to get out there and play. It's pretty awesome to be at Canton, but it's a coach's decision, you know, and he talked about just how paramount, you know, getting reps, you know, live reps against a different team is for a guy, you know, in his rookie year. And he mentioned even in second year and third year, but he also mentioned, you know, how cool it would be to do it in Canton to start his career. And so, you know, there's a little bit, you know, of, you know, euphoricness there for him too, to want to play. So I'll start with you, Adam, and then I'll go over to you, Corey. But, you know, I do think it is important that they at least play one series to just get through the process of coming out the tunnel, pregame warmups, come to the stadium in a starter's mindset, get in there, get the calls in. There's so many different nuances. Get lined up, get the snap clean, make sure you don't get any false starts, command that huddle for the first time ever. You know, how hard are you on that the Bears should to play their starters for at least, you know, a series, or if not more, or are you kind of erring on the side of let's be safe here?
No, let's be unsafe. Let's go crazy. I really enjoyed the point that you made today, where you were talking about, like, we hope that Caleb Williams is going to end his career in Canton with a gold jacket and all that stuff. And the symbolism of his first snap in the NFL being at Canton for the Hall of Fame game. Like, that would be, like, as a producer of television, you know, you think about that kind of like imagery 20 years down the road of like, hey, this was Caleb Williams, you know, and even if he hands off 3 times, it doesn't matter. But for everything that you said about the preparation to the moment, you know, I remember, and again, going back to stand-up comedy, the first time I ever did it, I was, or actually I've done it. I had done it. Actually, I did an open mic. Actually, I did a contest in college. But when I was with somebody who was helping to teach, and they said, you know what? Like, he would make people go out and do 3 minutes, just a 3-minute set, because you need to go through the whole thing of like what it's like, hey, like, what are you doing right before you go up? Like, when do you go to the bathroom, or when do you make sure that you got a drink of water from the bar? Make sure you have your notes. Where are you entering the stage? What are you doing here? Like, there's so much nuance to what you do just to get onto the stage that you want to map that out. Even if whether you're doing 3 minutes or 45 minutes, that's not, that's immaterial. It's the preparation for that moment. So I would really want Caleb to go through the process of like getting off the bus, going to the locker room, getting dressed. Like, if he's not dressed, like, I think it's a wasted opportunity. Get dressed, go through the things, go through the warm-ups, go through every little piece of that. And again, if you want to be safe to the point of like he's handing the ball off 3 times and they're getting off the field, fair enough. But I would love to give him that opportunity, because it's going to be an advantage for him going into the season, especially as Corey was talking about, like, nobody hits anymore. Nobody really practices much anymore. Like, go out there and take advantage of all the opportunities you can do. So I hope the Bears, and again, they've done everything correct. Like, it's very un-Bears-like to see how well they've done everything. Like, yeah, like, no veteran to compete. Like, they won't even bring in a veteran to compete with Tyson Bagent. Like, it's great. Like, this is exactly what you should be doing to develop a quarterback. It would be the first misfire with Caleb if they don't let him play on Thursday night.
No, I agree with Adam. I think even if you got to hand the ball off 3 times, just to get him through that routine, get him going ready, getting the team together, even if it's handing the ball off 3 times, I think you got to do it. So I'm hoping they do that. And then going forward, maybe in the next game, they give him a couple series to get on the same page. But being smart, right? Shane Waldron, having some plays designed where he doesn't get hit, you get the ball out quickly, you get him some confidence, because I think people really sleep on the importance of getting out there, getting some reps, getting some completions, going through the rhythm, the timing, and actual, you know, going against another competitor out there besides in practice, because everything happens a lot faster. It's a lot different when you're going against another opponent. So hopefully they can get him as many reps as possible while protecting him, right? From blitzes, from packages, getting the ball as quickly as possible.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And, you know, it when you talk about the symbolism of starting your career in Canton and then the hope of that it ends in Canton for Caleb Williams, that's the meatball side of things that we're going to bring to the table here. Yeah, you know, Yeah, but hey, that's how we think as fans. And Peter Bukowski, the Packers, he's like, are they going to put that, are they going to put his shrine next to Justin Fields, or does he get a whole different part of the Hall of Fame territory for himself? And I said, well, he'll be right next to the warm glass of shut the hell up, Peter, and don't worry about what we're doing over here in Chicago. But no, to your guys' point, the nuance of all the different things, you see here, DeBears 85 says hearing the call in the headset, and then relaying. When you watch the Hard Knocks, when they're at the combine and they're asking Jaden Daniels and Drake May and Caleb Williams to read back a call, and us as fans realizing just how hard that can be. And that is a big adjustment for a lot of college quarterbacks to have to come into the league and do that. There's another example of something that they can work on. Cadence has been an issue at training camp. That's another thing that they can at least try to iron out. As you said, they can just be run calls, but you're still going to work on your cadence. You're still going to identify the mic. You're still going to do certain things that are paramount to a quarterback's success. And you could say, well, they have 3 more games after that anyway. And I understand that point, but I don't see the harm in one series. I do understand that if his offensive line isn't out there with him, then the logic starts to fall apart a little bit. If it's raining, then you're going to err on the side of caution. I've heard people say that the field in Canton, the conditions are a concern. I can't speak to that, but I did have somebody in my comments saying that earlier today. So if that was the case,
I haven't been on the new field yet. Yeah. I remember that back in the day when it was a high school field, but I feel like it. And they also do a thing now, the concerts after, like the field concerns were when they would play the game on Sunday and they would have a concert and then the enshrinement ceremonies. And then the game was on Sunday. Now they lead off with the game. So the field hopefully will be in tip-top shape.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I was wondering about that, why they were playing it on Thursday instead of Sunday.
Yeah, that's why they do that.
Yes, the field was like Rick James. You know how he was stomping on that Chappelle Show couch. That's what they were doing before.
That's what they were doing.
And the players on it afterwards.
And it's muggy. I mean, you guys are in the Midwest, like it's muggy and they're ripping it up and it's just terrible.
Corey, did you ever play? You didn't ever play in a Hall of Fame game, did you? Or did you?
No, we never played in the Hall of Fame game. That was always something I wanted to do just to see the atmosphere because they say there's nothing like it.
It's amazing.
Yeah, and what better fitting with Julius Peppers and Devin Hester going in. Two, honestly, of the greatest.
And Mongo. And Mongo.
Ping pong. Yeah, Mongo McMichael. Yeah. I did a professional bull riding event, right? Me and him did it where we did the mechanical bull, and he was just so hilarious. And my agent at the time didn't want me to do it, and so he goes on for like 2 or 3 seconds, right? I'm like, oh, this is easy. I'm gonna go for a couple of seconds and go off. And the guy doing the bull turns it all the way up, right? And I'm over here like. It past 3 seconds, I jumped off real quick and like I fell and I was like, oh, and I got up. I was like, oh, I'm all right. My agent's there, like, and I just remember like if I heard something, man, that would have been a bad luck doing some PBR event with Mongo out there. But he was an awesome person. Speaking of wrestling too, I followed him as a kid. With the Four Horsemen. Yeah. Oh man, I used to love him in there, especially being a football player. It's unfortunate, what he's battling, but I'm glad he's getting the recognition he deserves because, in my opinion, he's arguably one of the best D tackles to play the game, and I think he's so underrated for what he did.
Yeah, I think he has the third most sacks in football history for a defensive tackle, and the guys around him are like Warren Sapp and other guys that are in the Hall of Fame.
Somebody like that. Yeah. That's one of the things the Hall of Fame voters never or rarely get right until it's for him. It's too late. For Ken Stabler, it was too late. Thankfully, Devin got to do it while he's a young man and can really enjoy this. But not looking at how players rank against their position peers, like McMichael against defensive tackles was easily one of the best. This should be no question. Stabler, same deal. I mean, a former NFL MVP who didn't get in until after he had passed away. And I think it happens in baseball too. And this is going to launch me into a thing about Bobby Grich should be in the Hall of Fame. But you got to be able to put position to position. And I think Mongo for a long time had a real legitimate case. And unfortunately, I mean, Fortunately, he's still with us, and his family can enjoy it with him. But it is something that should have happened years ago.
Yeah, it's
and
good.
Speaking,
Yep, go ahead.
sorry. Speaking of underrated players that don't get the recognition that should be in the Hall of Fame, I want to see what your thoughts are about Lance Briggs.
I knew it. I knew that's what you were going to say.
And Peanut Tillman, because those are three guys, and especially when I look at it, right? For sure, I think Lance and Olin, because they were one of the best at their positions. And Lance, in my opinion, I think he's one of the most underrated linebackers to ever play. He played next to Brian Urlacher, who's the GOAT of middle linebackers and was all everything, endorsements, marketing, was the face of Nike. So I feel like he got overlooked from that standpoint.
No, 100%. Like that's part of it. Like when you're in Van Halen, Eddie Van Halen was overshadowed by David Lee Roth for a long time because he was front and center and doing everything like that. And I remember it's so funny because when Brian Urlacher was coming into the league, this is how old I am. So don't do the math. I'm an old person. I actually wrote the draft profile for Brian Urlacher coming out of New Mexico to the point of my friend was like, hey, who's a guy that's in the draft that nobody's really talking about? And this is really before the draft industrial complex got up and running. And I'm like, hey, there's this guy coming out of New Mexico who played linebacker, tight end. I think he returned punts. Like he did everything. And I go, I don't know if the Bears would take him, but like that would be awesome because he seems like a Mr. Everything type of person. And then he came to Chicago and was everything that you wanted to be. But I think a lot of what helped Brian Urlacher was having Lance Briggs there. Like he wasn't a one person, like it wasn't just one guy. Like it was a team effort. That was one of the best defensive teams of the early 2000s. And Lance Briggs gets overlooked. And like, I feel bad. One time Lance came to NFL Network and like, hey Lance, how you doing? Adam, good to meet you. I go, you know what, man? Like Devin returns the kick and then Peyton Manning throws the pick. And I'm like, this is over. And then he's like, please don't talk about this. And I'm like, no, we need it now. But I was telling him, I go, listen, fanboying out like I do. And I said, you should be you should be in the Hall of Fame, like in Devin at the time and Steve Michael at the time. I was saying these things like you're with those guys. But now, as you said, like Peanut Tillman needs to be in there. Like anybody who watches the NFL and watches a guy swipe at a football, that should put Peanut Tillman into the Hall just for that. Like there's his thing. Like he should be in there.
Olin. Real quick.
And Olin.
Yep. Yeah. And to point you out about Peanut, right? Everybody talks about the punch, but tough as nails, defender stick his face in there and knock you in the teeth. And his coverage skills were super underrated because if you look at Peanut, he wasn't the fastest guy in the world. If he had a foot race, Julius Peppers would beat him. I'm being serious, right? Like he wasn't the fastest cornerback, but he had such great technique. He played with such great hands. He was a pro. And I look at him one-on-one with Megatron and all the best receivers in the game, and he shut a lot of them down. So I think he doesn't get as much credit as he deserves for his coverage skills.
That's a good point.
100%. And for me as a fan, going to training camp in Bourbonnais and being able to see all these guys, Hall of Fame caliber, Hall of Fame elite players, Brian Urlacher, Lance Briggs, Peanut Tillman, Olin Kreutz, Devin Hester, it was a privilege to watch you guys play, Corey and Lovie Smith leading the way. And so we'll just have to wait and see, here this next few days of festivities from the game and when they do the induction ceremony. I'm excited to see the video montage they put out for those guys. It's gonna be a fun week for Bears fans here coming up. And Corey, if the Hall of Fame, if you don't get the Hall of Fame call, I figure our goal here on this show is we get so great that we start winning Emmys, and then eventually the Hall of Fame calls and inducts this show into the Hall of Fame is what I was thinking.
Or maybe I'll get that green jacket one day. I'm training for the senior tour.
Look at you.
That will be my next pinnacle.
What is your handicap at right now?
8.2.
Gosh, dang, that's good.
Yeah, he smokes them all. He smokes it.
Yeah, so I'm trying to get the scratch, and then slowly, it would be fun to compete in like at least one tournament if I still am into golf and grinding with it when I get to of age. So.
Well, become a teaching professional and do it like my friend Michael Block, who a couple of years ago made a Royal Tribuco, and now he's actually training because he was a few years shy of the Champions Tour, but now he's training for that, and it's like, all right, yeah, that's the way to go. That guy, geez, watching these guys, it's just incredible.
Well, and you ever see his son hit the ball? His son hits the ball like a long drive.
Oh my gosh, that kid's a monster.
Well, you brought up guys
channel on YouTube. Oh man, he was hitting like 195 ball speed. I'm like, damn,
unbelievable.
Well, and you saw here over the offseason, Sauce Gardner picked up the game, and people were commending him on how much better he got from when he first started to he's like saying, all right, I'm going to be done for the football season now. And he did a couple videos, and people were complimenting him on just how much better he got. And that's the nice thing about golf is when you first start, you just get incrementally better every day. And then the longer you play, the harder it is to shave some strokes off. So, it certainly is a fun sport, and we're talking about it all the time here on CHGO Bears After Dark. I want to pivot here to some of the Bears of nowadays and training camp going on, before we take up too much more of your time, Adam. But before we do, I want to make sure everybody knows that you've got till July 31st. I mean, I think we're 2 days from the deadline of signing up here with True Fan Travel. We're going to London here October 9th through the 15th with our friends over at True Fan Travel. If you go to truefantravel.com, you can see all the itinerary. There's different packages for you to sign up and come with us. We're going to have a welcome event the first night in. We've got a river cruise planned, for just the people that sign up. We're going to have live events while we're there. If you're already in London, if you're already got your tickets, you'll probably be able to come by some of our events. If you sign up and you don't have a ticket, you sign up here with us at True Fan Travel in the next 2 days, you now have a ticket to the game as well with everything that comes into it. So True Fan Travel really helping us out. And we're also going to be going to Arizona here later in the year as well. So a couple different options for you guys as fans to join with us. Corey, I believe you're going with us to Arizona as well, correct?
Oh, yeah. And I'm going to bring the club because, I got to get this.
Go. Yeah. Hogue said he wanted like all the fans to come and climb a mountain with him. And I was like, you have fun with that, Hogue. We're going to hit the links.
Wait, can I sign up for the Arizona one?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Quick drive for you.
I know.
Quick flight.
You're on the squad now, Adam. You ain't got to sign up for nothing. You come over, right. We'll get you set up.
Even if I work Sunday morning, I can fly. That's the best part about being out here is like you can even if I have to work Sunday morning, and thankfully the NFL has not given me my schedule yet, which is perfect. But like some of those Sunday mornings, like I've done a morning show, got on a bird to San Francisco. And although you got to go to San Jose where that is, but so it's an easy trip for me. And, but I would love to go out on Saturday so I can go play.
You're locked in. We'll get the tee time set. I know Steven's bringing his clubs as well. And you are officially an honorary diehard here at CHGO Sports. We're going to get you hooked up with some gear, some more gear, Adam, and you're more than welcome at any event we do. Like you said, when you came to the Super Bowl, when we were on Radio Row and hanging out when nobody was there, late at night while the Bears were inducting their players. Like,
it was honors night too. So that was like that place was dead. It was us and Carrot Top. And that was it.
And the radio crew from London, because it was it was morning for them. So you were there at night. So we're looking forward to all that stuff. So make sure you sign up with truefantravel.com. So Adam, you talked to Tyler Scott, you've seen all the different reporting, you've seen the different highlights, catching the Twitter timeline feed, from the Bears and everywhere else. That was a beautiful ball that Caleb threw to Tyler Scott on the run. Honestly, from the 2 days of open practice that I was able to attend and watch these guys in pads too. They've got a lot of kinks to work out, but man, I really, when we were trying to figure out what is Caleb Williams' bread and butter, throwing on the move, I think is really in his wheelhouse. He's got a tremendous ability to throw on the move, great arm action, great touch on the football, but the velocity certainly stands out as well as he rips it, on some post routes to Keenan Allen and Rome Odunze and DJ Moore Tyler Scott. So you're definitely seeing all the talent is there, and now they've got to put this stuff together. Jokingly, it was a lot of tongue in cheek of my panicking, after Saturday's practice.
Yeah, how much Taco Bell did you eat today? Like, what is the update?
No, I was threatening the Bears that if they didn't play well offensively today, that I was going to eat more Taco Bell, and they heard my threat, and it sounds like they had a pretty clean day, no false starts, had a nice touchdown to Rome Odunze, threw 2 guys. I guess Caleb Williams thread the needle, nice catch by Rome, another one from Keenan Allen that I guess was a nice ball. So I laid down my threats for the day. But where do you stand in terms of, where we're at here, first 9-10 days in, and the progress that Caleb's made, what you've heard from Tyler Scott, how you feeling about how everything's going so far?
Well, I still would ask everybody to go listen to the interview that we did with him, because I feel like it was pretty enlightening. So you'll enjoy it. I try not to get in his way and let him do his thing. But like all the stuff that you hear about Caleb Williams, what you heard coming out before the draft was just all garbage. Like it was just none of that had any merit. And it was people making up stuff. And, none of that ever happened. Caleb never said he never wanted to go to Chicago. And he's not a bad teammate. There was a story that came out recently, I think, that people noticed. We always knew about it, but they were like, I had forgotten about it till somebody brought it up recently, where they were like, they're like, Caleb turned down an NIL deal because he wanted his lineman to get it. It was like it was a big endorsement, and he turned it down. He let his lineman get it. And I go, oh yeah. It's like one of those things where you're like, oh yeah, I forgot. It was a big story out here in LA. You're like, oh yeah, Caleb's cool. But the Bears weren't in line for Caleb at this point. So I guess I didn't store that information, but it does. What Tyler says about him is pretty much what I've heard from people who are in and around the USC program and Oklahoma even, is that people love Caleb Williams. Like there's never been any dissension. Like all the stuff that comes out about his phone case, here, check this out. His phone case, there's mine.
There it is.
His phone case, his nails, is anything like that. It always comes from the outside, and it always comes from people who are threatened and, and things of that nature. So he's really, and Tyler's like, he's just a great guy. Like it's just fun to hang out with. He's funnier than you would think and things like that. And I'm always curious too, like, because I asked him, I said, the first time you met him, did he introduce himself? Like that is a big thing to me. It's like, I remember this because I've met Magic Johnson one time, and I go, oh, how are you? My name's Adam. He goes, hey, Adam, good to meet you. Irvin. I'm like, oh, okay, thanks. What was that name again? Irvin? Thanks. But no, and I'm like, everything went cool, and he's hung out with them a couple of times, and everybody seems to be getting along. And I really love this opportunity for Tyler, because I was there with him when Rome Odunze was drafted, and I said, and we were live, and I'm like, we knew we were a couple picks ahead, and I said, hey, you know what? Like they're drafting Rome, so we took a little bit of a break, and we talked about this, and he had to go to Soldier Field to go meet with all the fans. And I remember telling him that night, I said, listen, this is a great thing, because like bringing in Keenan Allen is a great opportunity for him to learn. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with learning from people around you, learning from great veterans. And Rome Odunze, at some point, it's going to be you two guys who are going to be the dudes, along with DJ Moore, hopefully, forever. But like every team needs to be at least 3 deep. I've seen way too many times this organization will go out there and we're like, yeah, we're going to roll with Darnell Mooney as our 1. And then we're going to put out Equanimous St. Brown and Dante. And like, no, like I understand if you're a player, it sucks when they're padding your position, but it's necessary in the NFL, and it's going to end up benefiting him in the long run. And he's been able to gain wisdom from Keenan Allen and DJ Moore, obviously from last year, but gain the wisdom of one of the best wide receivers in the game. And him and Rome are going to be the better for it. And at some point, we're going to look at this trio of wide receivers and be like, God, what a great, because even think back to when we had Brandon Marshall and Alshon Jeffrey, how clutch would it have been to have like one other guy who was like a real standout? So
And that guy almost was going to be Marcus Wilson, and he broke his collarbone one year at camp, and he was really
Johnny Knox, if he could have stayed healthy.
Johnny Knox as well, and he took one of the toughest injuries and hits I've ever seen in the NFL against the Seahawks. So that certainly plays a part. So yeah, it's exciting where they're going with the wide receiver core. Definitely.
And I also had to clap back on somebody because, the haters doing what they do. So I posted a video of Tyler catching a touchdown. Like, oh, how's Velus doing? I'm like, he's good. He's doing well. He's doing well. He's practicing. He's making some plays. We've seen some great catches from him. And with the kickoff rules being what they are, like, he has a real chance to really carve out a niche for him. I've always said when he came into the league, like he's very Cordero Patterson-esque to me. And if you can find a way to really just hone in on his skills, I think he could be a really valuable weapon. So I'm not giving up on Velus. I'm with him. I'm with him as much as I'm with Tyler. So no, I'm with Tyler's my no. Yeah. But they're still my guy. I felt bad though. The last time I saw Velus was in Los Angeles after the Chargers game. And if you remember what happened in that game, hey Velus, like, good to see you. And then like the media was coming, that everybody was sort of making their way towards Velus's locker. And I told Tyler, I'm like, you got to move because here come the buzzards. And then I even joked with him after the Detroit game. I said, yeah, I go, hey, did they come for you? And he's like, yeah. He's like, I kind of knew after that. So, and it's a learning process and everything like that. But it's great to see these guys really stepping up. And, people make mistakes and you learn and you grow, and it looks like they're getting better. And that's all you can really ask for. Like playing golf, Corey, like, listen, you take some, shank some once in a while. You got to get back out there on the tee.
And speaking of golf, right, I think what's really got me a lot better is playing with low handicap guys. And the same thing correlates to the wide receiver room. They got some of the best wide receiver players in all of the NFL. So what is it going to do? It's going to up everybody's game. So guys like Velus Jones, Tyler Scott, they're like, hey, I'm trying to get it in there. I'm trying to have a role on this team. They're going to look at Keenan Allen. They're going to look at, Rome Odunze. Even though he's young, he still has the talent, and DJ Moore. And it's going to up everybody's game because people want to get out there and make plays. And I think it's the best situation because you look at Keenan Allen, 32 years old. He's getting up there in age, essentially on a one-year deal with the Bears. So he's always played in a warm weather place throughout his career. So you got to think, he could potentially be somewhere else next year. So Tyler Scott is there chomping at the bit. Velus Jones, and iron sharpens iron. So that's what I'm looking forward to, seeing their growth through training camp, seeing if they can get on the same page with Caleb Williams, because that's your easiest way to get on the field.
Yep. And to your point here, Corey, that Caleb and Shane Waldron spoke to the media today, and they spoke on some of this stuff, a few different quotes that came from this. Caleb talks about on handling the mistakes. It's how you respond and react to those frustrating times is when you grow and get better. And earlier in training camp, when he first got here, he said, progression is key. Keep doing that over time, and I'll be able to reach the goals at the end of my career, and we can reach the goal at the end of the year as a team. And then Waldron kind of finished it up today by saying, that daily improvement and that positive mindset that he shows up with every single day, both of those things give him a chance to be great. So, while Greg's Taco Bell panicking, Caleb and Shane seem pretty steadfast that they're going to be good to roll here, but Corey, I have to ask you, because Nate Davis, it seemed like he got banged up in individual drills before they got into the one-on-ones on Saturday, and then he got listed as day-to-day, and I believe he was listed today with out with a strained calf. And one of the Eberflus can be pretty sharp with guys at times, and he had a quote that came out, and I'm gonna have to find it because I want to get the exact quote and get your thoughts on this. And we've seen Eberflus challenge guys like Velus Jones and even guys like Jalen Johnson, and Tyreek Stevenson was on a podcast this offseason talking about how last year in the preseason he got bumped down to second team because he wasn't hustling. And this was a quote from Matt Eberflus talking about Nate Davis being day-to-day. And he said, availability is everything in this league. You've got to be available to practice, and you've got to be able to go through hard go through hard in terms of doing hard better during training camp. That's all part of preparing for the first part of the season, being able to do that, to callous yourself. That's your individual responsibility to the football team. And when you're not out there, guess what? That doesn't happen. Availability is important at every position. And sometimes guys get injured, and that's the way it goes. But they have to get back as fast as possible because, to me, there's a lot of competition on this roster. So you're shaking your head there, Corey. It seems like Eberflus is kind of saying, all right,
yeah,
money on the table time.
Because think about it, if DJ Moore had an injury and he's nagging, he would have never said that, right? But he's going off what happened last year, right? And the body of work he put together last year, and was banged up, was missing a lot of things. Now he's starting to miss some stuff. So I think he's putting the pressure on him. He's challenging him, and he wants to see him on the field because ultimately they brought him here to be a stable force at guard, right? Him and Tevin Jenkins. Last year we didn't see that. He was going through a lot of things injury-wise with his mother. Unfortunately, she passed away. But this is a big year for him to showcase, hey, this is why you got the particular contract that you did. So I think he's challenging him. He's trying to get him to, maybe fight through some of these little nagging things, because in training camp, we all have these little nagging things, right? Some people have, are afforded some opportunities where they can sit out a little bit more, i.e. Julius Peppers, Urlacher, Briggs, guys like that. When I played, they can sit out for a little calf strain or some calf soreness. Other guys, maybe not so much. So I think Eberflus is just trying to challenge him, because if Nate Davis can be the player that we saw in Tennessee, that would be huge for this offense. Because right now we're putting the pieces together, right? Braxton Jones is another year improved in this system. Tevin Jenkins, when he's healthy, is an absolute monster, right? We're figuring out the center position. But if Nate Davis is there with Darnell Wright, I think that could be a great situation, for a guy, whatever side he plays, just to be able to help the tackle and be a stable force in there at the guard position.
Yeah, when you talk about, go ahead, Adam. Yep.
No, I was going to say, it's interesting because a couple of days ago, Nick Saban was in camp with the Bears, and it's a very much like a Belichick, Nick Saban type of attitude of you're really putting these players on the spot and not mincing words. Now, again, it's different. The higher up the depth chart you are, like sometimes, or the top 100 list, you might get a little bit more leeway. But some of these guys, like, they're not afraid to go after them and just not afraid to put it out there. And I kind of like it. I think it's again a refreshing thing in today's NFL. And so, you know what? Like, again, I saw that quote with as well as you, and I'm like, oh man, like, he's really, like, we're not messing around. And it does give us hope, because I remember last year going into week one, everybody was like fired up about that game against the Packers, and it just kind of set a bad tone that kind of hung over the team for a couple of weeks. I think they're trying to get out in front of that this time and, like, making sure that everybody is on the same page and we cannot squander this opportunity. Yep. And I think that if they do, like, Eberflus is going to start feeling the heat himself. So I kind of like to see the accountability being thrown around.
100%. Yep.
Oh, no, go ahead, Brax.
Oh, you're good. What you got?
Yeah, no. I was going to say, you talked about the first game last year. So I think this first game of the season, right, against Tennessee Titans, is the most important game of the season. And especially with the young quarterback and Caleb Williams, he doesn't have to light it up. He doesn't have to throw for 500 yards, 400 yards. But what I think is he needs a clean game where you get him some confidence with the throws, going through the checks, going through the reads. And it's going to be crucial for Shane Waldron to call his best game he's ever. We saw what he did for Geno Smith, right? Really resurrected his career. Now you got one of the best rising talents in the NFL. How are you going to put that first game together to really get him the confidence? Because I think that's the difference, why some players do well and others don't, right? I think this first game is so crucial for his confidence, right? To get him on the good page, get a win, get him feeling confident. Because week 2, you're going to Houston. That place is going to be rocking against arguably one of the best rising quarterbacks in C.J. Stroud. The way they're building that team, offense and defensively. Danielle Hunter from Minnesota is there. They have a lot of pieces to the puzzle, and that's going to be a tough game. But I think if he can have a solid week 1 game, it can really give him confidence going into week 2. So that way you know exactly what you're getting into. And get him on the same page with the receivers, with Shane Waldron, and that offensive line.
100%. It's pretty wild that they're playing in this Hall of Fame game and then they play again week 2. And I have to guess that that's the fastest turnaround for a team playing someone in the preseason and then playing them again in the regular season. It really doesn't happen all that often, but it does happen. Like the Arizona Cardinals in the Monday Night Miracle, they are who they thought they were game. The Cardinals and Bears played in the third game of the 4 games in that preseason. And that's why Denny Green was like, we knew what they were doing. We played them in the third game. Everybody played 3 quarters. The Bears are who we thought they were. And so it does happen, but typically there's a little more time in between when you play in the preseason and the regular season. So this is pretty bottled up together here in terms of familiarity. So that's an interesting aspect of this. And you wonder the kind of gamesmanship both teams are going to be playing here on Thursday, knowing that. And I know how coaches are, so they're not going to be showing very much. Not that they ever really do in the preseason, but at the same time, that's just another layer that they have to consider. We got a few more minutes before we get out of here. Certainly wasn't expecting you, Adam, to stay on this long, and I appreciate
why not
time. Well, hey, because I don't, as I told you, because I'm excited about this little collab we're going to be doing throughout the year. That I wasn't going to overcook the ham and I wasn't going to over ask, but I do enjoy so much, having the football. Yeah. Yes, sir.
No, I was going to say the kids have allowed this. My son ran in because I have this is what I use if I'm using a phone. He thought I needed this. So I don't know if you guys caught it at some point of the show.
Yeah, I did. I saw
he ran in and handed this to me because he was so concerned. So I want to thank him for that. And the kids have been super cool. They usually at some point start to lose it. And but they've been really chill. So they've been allowing this to happen, which is great to see. I also, you know what, I want to say one thing though, is I know we probably shouldn't poke the bear with the Packers. But I was teasing Aaron Nagler. Well, you brought up Peter, but like Nagler was like, hey, remember everybody who thought that Fields was going to be better than Jordan Love? And I'm like, that story's not completely over. Like there's a chance that in Pittsburgh, Justin Fields plays well. And what if Jordan Love doesn't play well? But it was funny because I did have a thing where I was watching the Giants Hard Knocks. And I was like, oh my God. I'm like, Daniel Jones. Oh my God. They gave Daniel Jones $160 million. So I tweeted that out. And it was right around the time that Jordan Love signed his contract. And all the Packer fans were like, oh, this isn't even the same. I'm like, what happened? What do you mean? I'm like, oh. I go, but you're telling on yourselves. You're all telling on yourselves. It's like anything you do. Like if I ever said like, oh, this person's defrauding the government, they're like, oh, Brett Favre has more rings than. I'm like, whoa, I wasn't even talking about Brett Favre. I was just talking about somebody defrauding the government.
Well, we did see the video of Jordan Love throwing a pick 6 to a 7th round pick at their camp. Never mind the fact that Caleb Williams threw an interception back-to-back on 7-on-7s to Reddy Stewart out of Troy, who's caught my attention. The guy's got a little bit of scrappiness to him. And Adrian Colbert on back-to-back interceptions, but we'll just focus on the fact that Jordan Love threw a pick 6 right after getting that big-time contract to his 7th round pick. We'll have a little fun with Nagler and Peter.
You need to do that during the games. All right?
That's a fifth-year player, though. This is Caleb's in his rookie season. Jordan Love's in his 5th year. You can't be making that mistake in your 5th year.
Yeah. Exactly. No, I think Jordan Love is a very good quarterback, and I understand the market, is crazy for quarterbacks. We saw what Tua got. But if I'm a Packer fan, I'm not upset that they gave him the extension they did.
They're not paying wide receivers, so that's good.
Yeah. Real quick, we got a couple things that I wanted to ask you about this, Corey, and Adam. You can touch on this too if you want. One, Montez Sweat wasn't here at camp last year, and he's beaten Darnell Wright like a drum. At one point in Saturday's practice, he got around the edge on a 2-minute drill and forced a fumble on Caleb Williams on the backside, and he touched him. And Matt Eberflus pulled him off the practice field because he was like, hey, man, I know you're hungry, but you can't be touching our guy. You would be sick to your stomach if anything happened, because he got him on the delivery. And then today, Nick Moriano, that we do our best and worst after every post-practice show we do, and Nick's worst was that Darnell Wright can't seem to block Montez Sweat. And I'm a big fan of Darnell Wright. He showed me a lot last year, but he's having a hell of a time right now with Montez Sweat. So, like, you know what that's like, you know, on a defensive end, on the edge, going up against a tackle and working through those things here at camp. You saw the way Julius Peppers used to beat people like a drum. And I watched, you know, those guys, and Khalil Mack ruined many of practices, you know, in 2019, you know, at camp. So, you know, what does Darnell Wright have to do to try to hold on for dear life here for the next few weeks?
Man, he's got to get to the drawing board and figure out how he can get Sweat. And I think a big thing Sweat loves to do is, right, he likes to use the power, right? He's got very long arms. So Wright has to be able to knock those hands down, re-anchor. So I'm not sure exactly how he's getting beat, but I would imagine it's probably a stab to a rip, because that's usually what Montez Sweat does, and it's probably a counter off that. So that's probably how he's beating them. Yeah, if anybody's seen practices or whatever, maybe they can comment on exactly how he's getting beat.
Well, Kyle Long said that you used to do that to him all the time too, Corey.
Yeah, Kyle, we used to go at it in practice, especially his rookie year, my last year with the Bears, and it was fun. Yeah, there was a lot of good practices. I can't talk about everything that happened on the field. It's a little interesting, but I think like that saying, like, iron sharpens iron, it's so cliche, but I think Darnell Wright going against one of the best in the league at left end, and I think that is Montez Sweat, because I know people were so critical about the Bears going out and get him, and I was always high on that. I thought he was so good at what he does as a left end for his ability to play the run, and not only that, as a pass rusher. And I think people didn't give enough credit for what he is, and now we're seeing him be the feature guy. And what did he do on a team that didn't have many options opposite him? He dominated. Since he came on the Bears, it was a different defense, and that's the Montez Sweat effect. I really do believe that he'll have 15-plus sacks this year. I really do. If there's somebody that can just come, there's one of two things, right? Jervon Dexter really getting that push up front in the middle. I think that will really make his job a lot easier. And if somebody, Austin Booker, whoever that is on that right side opposite him, to really come home and push the pocket, get around the edge. If they can do that, Montez Sweat, I think, will be one of the leaders of sacks this year. I really do believe that.
I love that trade so much, and I couldn't wait to victory lap guys like Mike Florio and everybody else, because when they made that deal, obviously the Chase Claypool thing was not working out. But what a dumb thing to give up a second-round pick or whatever they were saying. And it's like, if you think that Ryan Poles made this deal without having some semblance of what it's going to take to sign him long-term, you're an absolute crazy person. Look at Chase Young went to the 49ers for a third round. Where's Chase Young now? Where is he? Tennessee, Houston, somewhere like that. They made a great deal for Montez Sweat. They've now got him in long-term. We're starting to see what he's been able to do as an individual type player. So you could not have asked for a better deal. And I think the more and more we see of Ryan Poles going to work, like the fact that you have to keep going back to the Chase Claypool thing, it's like, okay, well, like, if that's going to be the thing that haunts us forever, that's fine, because that's going to get further and further in the past. But what we're seeing are great picks. I got to get my guy Brian Baldinger to take a look at what's going on in Bears camp, because last year, one of the Total Access shows we were doing before the draft, I was doing my mock draft with a twist, and I was asking, and I was kind of picking his brain on some of the offensive linemen, and he loved Darnell Wright. He's like, oh, Darnell Wright should be going in the top 10. He's like, he's my favorite guy. And I'm like, really? And I'm like, trying to remember where I was putting him. I think I ended up putting him in Miami, but that was one that stood out. So I'd be interested to see what his take is on everything that's going on at camp.
It seems like the hardcore film football guys like Corey, who breaks down the tape, he was all over Darnell Wright leading into that draft. Our guy, Adam Rank, Draft Dr. Phil, was big on Darnell Wright. Baldy was big on him. Adam Hogue was big on him. And then the Bears end up drafting him. So it seems like the Bears made the right move there. We're wrapping things up here tonight. There's so much we get to talk about, but we got all season to hit those things maybe one night, because Baldy is a part of All City Network here with what we do at CHGO Sports and all the different cities that we cover at All City. So maybe one night we can get Baldy to jump on with the three of us, and that would be that'd be a fun show. But we got plenty of stuff to cover here as the year goes on. Adam, I'm looking forward to our little collab this year. Excited to do some shows with you on your end. Excited for you to jump on with us. Me and Woot, keep me in check so I don't drive Woot crazy. We did have, a question from Edward Elric. He asking you, Woot, will you be attending the second annual Kickoff Classic at Cog Hill Friday, August 23rd?
And I gotta ask him, is the grass green?
What the dang heck?
Man,
I'll be there. I will be there, baby.
Make sure
I will.
Trying to take
oh
it
man, I gotta go next year. By the way, you ever reach into your pocket and you're just like, oh yeah, there's a tee.
Oh yeah. Tees in the pocket all day long.
I got the short one.
That's how you know you're
for the par threes, right?
Well, I used to be the guy that puts it on the ground, and then there was something that Tiger Woods said to me one time. Tiger goes, Adam, I want you to know two things. Number one, whenever you get an opportunity to tee up the ball, you do it. And number two, never name drop. And I said, okay, Tiger, I will do at least one of those things.
Adam just casually drops these great stories when we're at the Super Bowl. He's like, yeah, I was, had a nice conversation with Norm Macdonald and Irvin.
Okay, hold on. No, hold on. The Norm Macdonald thing is absolutely the truth. The story that I told you was the truth. I'm joking about Tiger Woods. The name drop thing that's a joke. That's just a joke. Okay. I saw Tiger Woods say that in an interview. But the thing with Norm Macdonald was absolutely true. With the thing about texting you, if you have a problem with somebody, if somebody comes at you and they have a problem with you, tell them, oh, I got to do it. Oh yeah, if anybody ever comes at you, they're like, hey, holy Lord, I don't like you. They're like, oh yeah, text me. And then if they don't have your number, then it doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, remember that. And I'm like, oh, wisdom from Norm Macdonald. Like, I appreciate it. Actually, this actually happened. I was working at the Irvine Improv, and Norm was there for a couple of nights. And, I didn't really like to go out after work or anything like that because, and then I went out because Norm was going out, and my manager was making fun of me like, oh, Norm's out, and you suddenly join us. I'm like, of course. I drove him to the hotel. On Friday and Saturday night back, I'll give you a lift or whatever. And then on Sunday, same thing. And I was sitting there thinking like, this guy probably doesn't even know my name, but I don't care because he's sitting in my car, shotgun in my car. And then out of the blue, he just goes, hey, we call you Adzi. I'm like, no, like, that's what we call Sandler on the show, I'm like, how did he read my mind? Like, this guy's incredible. But it was great. So that was, but yes, I do. I tend to name drop once in a while.
Norm Macdonald, an absolute legend. $1.99 super chat from Jason saying Hogue was big on Skoronski, not right. He was defending Skoronski. I'll give you that, Jason. But when the books came in, when the pick was, you had to make your prediction. He said the Bears were going to draft Darnell Wright. So let's make sure.
Who called it? Who called it?
And Corey Wootton called it. I'll give you your flowers as well, sir. But Hogue, I can make fun of Adam all day long, Mark Harmon too, but we're gonna get our facts straight here on CHGO Bears After Dark. We've run overtime here, and I feel bad about that. So I want everybody to be able to get back to their families and hanging out here tonight. We got a long season. We got a whole bunch of preseason stuff coming up. It's going to be a lot of great content. Missouri Mahler finishes it off. $1.99 super chat. Adam Rank is a great guest. What a trio. And you're going to get this trio here a lot of different times throughout the season. And me and Adam will be jumping on the Sick podcast. Make sure you subscribe to his channel on YouTube as well. It's going to be a lot of fun talking. What do you got, Corey?
Yeah, I was just going to say, can we get a commitment for next year, right? 2025 to kick off the third annual kickoff back. Can we get you there in Chicago at Cog
Yeah,
Hill?
100%. I would have done that for sure. It's over the next couple of weeks, I'm going to be going out to Ballyhack, Virginia. I'm going to be in Baltimore at one of their clubs. There's some clubs out here. There's a club out here in Rancho Mirage called Mission Hills, Meadowlark Golf Club in Huntington Beach. We do these fantasy football events where we go out there and we play a round of golf, and then I go out there and I give a little seminar that night on fantasy football, go through like some of the biggest news and notes and everything like that. And so we do that, and then Some people will draft their leagues that night, but you don't have to. If you just want to come and listen or whatever, you pay a couple bucks, whatever it is. We'll work that into it, and I'll just make that one of the stops for the third annual Kickoff Classic.
Well, we're excited to see you. We're excited.
I'm gonna try to get my handicap down to single digits, and we'll see if it can happen.
Let's go. You got a little chipping and putting out there on the putting.
That's what I'm good at. People ask me, they're like, "What are you good at in golf?" And I said, "Well, I drive well, hit my irons well, I chip well, I putt well, just never all at the same time."
Yeah,
and never on the same hole. Like never. Like I got it all.
Yeah, me is my tee shots. I can hit the ball a mile, but I've switched to a mini driver, TaylorMade's burner off the tee, and I'm hitting it 300 straight. It's a lot easier to hit until I can get my driver up and popping. Because irons are good, wedges are good, chipping and putting. It's just the tee shots that had been killing my score, getting better, keeping it in play.
Well, our guy Spencer, who's our event coordinator with ALLCITY, and he's out in Denver with DNVR. He does a podcast called Big Drive Energy, and it seems like we're gonna have to get you two guys on that podcast as well, where it's just all golf talk all day long.
I can nerd out all day. We could talk about
yes, sir.
The right ball you need to play, the spin numbers based on, you got flyer lies. We can go all day about this. Okay.
Love it. And if you're ever in the New Jersey area, Adam, Corey's got a nice little business cooking with his golf simulators as well. So you'll have to, I'm going to check them out one day, but I know that you travel a lot
in Rutherford, New Jersey. So we gotta, and the thing is, like, if anybody wants to come and try to break my record, so I hit it 346 on there. So if somebody wants to break it, they can get around on me. I'll just put it out there. Right? If somebody shows me the evidence there, and
I don't know if I would get within 100 yards of that.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, appreciate the extension, the little overtime here on CHGO Bears After Dark. I know Bears fans are really going to enjoy tonight's show. We covered it all from the Hall of Fame game to Bears of Past, Norm Macdonald stories, golf stories, everything in between. It was a really good show. I really enjoyed it. It's an honor and a privilege for me to share this stage with you two, and I appreciate you guys, jumping in and chopping it up with me here as we always do. And for the rest of this year, it's going to be a lot of fun. So for all you fans that are tuned in here tonight, thank you for tuning in as always. Make sure you hit the like button on your way out. Once again, thank you to my guy, Stephen Nicholas, in the background, producing the scene, covering us at CHGO Bears. We will be back tomorrow, another open practice for the Chicago Bears. I will be back at Hallis Hall. Og will be there. Nick Moriano, Mark Carmen. We'll have a post-practice show at 2 p.m. as best we can, get to our stations and tell you about what the Bears are up to. We'll see if they get in pads tomorrow. So if you haven't, make sure you subscribe to the channel, because we are getting close to around 58,000 subscribers here to the channel. So make sure you subscribe to CHGO Sports on YouTube as well. And until then, excited for game day on Thursday, more practice days to come, and Hard Knocks coming up next week. Hard Knocks After Dark showing up next Tuesday. So make sure you tune in for that. Some big stuff coming up and a big season ahead. Thank you again for everybody to tune in. We'll see you tomorrow, and always bear down.
We all silly like the mayor.